Alright, we should have sound now. Sorry about that, folks. I will cut this for the live one, so I will restate that. Hello everyone, I'm Andrew Can, and if I can, you can too. In this stream, we are going to be talking about everything I learned at VidSummit. VidSummit being one of the largest video conferences of the year for me, and it's really interesting because you get to learn so much from some of the leading YouTube experts and industry leaders of YouTube. There is the beautiful voice as Vigard. I want to thank everyone who has been helping me out in the stream. So I see Vigard, I see Paul Peck, I see that we have Dollar Tree Goodies, and I see Michael Healy and Inside the Lab. Welcome everyone. So that being said, before we go on, we are going to be doing channel reviews and a lot of fun information today. So if you're interested in any of that, go ahead and let me know in the comments of either the live stream. If you're watching this in the replay, I always try to stream and I usually post about it on Twitter. Go follow me there if you'd like to know what I'm streaming next. So the main takeaway for me at VidSummit is no matter the channel size, whether it's been a person that had only 100 subscribers or some of these channels I saw with millions of subscribers, one of the things that tend to not be as well optimized as their videos, as everything else, is their YouTube channel itself, which really is interesting because the more optimized your personal YouTube channel is, the better you are going to find you are going to get more conversion of things you want, because the YouTube channel itself is so important. I know it seems simple, right? But it's interesting watching some of these top level channels struggle because they forgot to do things when they signed up, or they didn't think it mattered as much. I had one channel that had 1 million subscribers, and 20% of his views came from people searching up his channel and going to his channel page. So when you have that and you're not optimized and you're not making it easy for people to see how to find your content, what you're into, or even brands that are trying to reach out, by not having your channel that well optimized, it really can hurt some channels. Welcome Launchpad Astronomy, welcome Neil, who I got to meet at VidSummit, Paul Peck and Haley I got to meet at VidSummit, Vigard I got to meet at VidSummit. VidSummit is an amazing event again. But it's really interesting because dealing with so many channels, seeing so many things that are being missed out, it really goes to show that no matter what size you are, no matter how much you think you know, you're still learning. I'm still learning. We're all still learning about this. So it's one of those things that whenever you are going to an event, make sure you talk to people and make sure you go to speak to booth sponsors and things like that. That said, I'm going to take a look at my own personal channel, and there's some shortcomings that I've actually been working on fixing. So we're going to start where I always try to start, with myself, because you try to show people what you know, try to include and make sure that they are following what you tell them. So transition, practice what you preach. So one thing I've been actually working on for my own personal channel is making sure my branding is more consistent. Welcome RPM Nexus. Vigard says, absolutely, we are all still learning. It's a lifelong pursuit. Has everyone seen the changes to the Google algorithm? So I believe what Neil is talking about is the featured carousel on it. Neil, let me know if you are talking about it. So as I see here, the first thing I always tell people is to make sure you're optimized. I do have a returning subscriber video. I have my recent uploads. I have my short films. And then I have my analysis. And then I created a newer playlist, which is how to get better audio for YouTube, which is something I've noticed that YouTube is classifying my channel as. So this has happened because I'm pretty much not doing as well as I should on this, but I have a couple of videos that did very well around audio, and audio is one of those things I like doing and I've learned a lot of. So it's one of those things that if you notice that YouTube is classifying your channel as something, it's always good to serve an audience that is finding you. So one thing I noticed is that, I have this acoustic phone video that does really well, and that YouTube's been pushing me with audio related channels. Now, audio is one section of what I'm doing, but if you notice that YouTube is giving you a natural push to something, you want to make sure that you are doing your best to not only help those viewers, but have something that YouTube can recommend with it. So while audio is something I didn't expect to do well on my personal channel, it's one of those things that if YouTube is already pushing people from audio sources into my channel, or if for your own channel, let's say you have a video on a specific game that did very well, or let's say if you're Paul Peck, for example, who does drywall, For Paul, the more drywall playlists he has, the easier it is for YouTube to recommend him not only against himself, but other contents. Neil says, can we all go back to LA, please? Well, I'm still in LA. So looking here, he said it's called Brett, or bidirectional encoder representation from Transformers. Launchpad Astronomy says less than a year away to be back in LA for Vid Summit. But my question to anyone watching is, do you know what YouTube is saying your channel is about? Because if you don't, that actually is very important. And not knowing that can really harm you. So I want to show you from a gaming channel perspective, because I know on my main channel what it's already doing. But on my gaming channel, it's slightly different. So while I go into my analytics, I wanted to know, is anyone interested in a channel review? Because today we're going to be looking at the channel layout, how easy it is for newer subscribers to understand what you're about, and also try to get what YouTube might be classifying your channel as. Of course, your analytics will always show you more than I can see from just a surface level, but it's still always interesting. So as we transition back, we are into the new YouTube Studio Beta, everyone's favorite and not controversial piece. I actually really like the Studio Beta, and I can't wait to interview Tom from the Creator Insiders channel on TubeBuddy. So, if I look here on the traffic sources, a lot of it comes from playlists on my gaming channel, and this is actually why I always recommend playlists. Yes, this channel is starting to decline, but that's only because I haven't been uploading on it, because I've been focusing more on this one. Tim Wood says, feel free to rip my channel into bits. So we will go ahead and add you to the queue, Tim Wood. So, as we head back, this is why I always tell people, and since we have a good amount of time here, I want to take a look at 2019 as a whole. I mean, we have pretty much 10 months of data. Gives me a really good idea of where YouTube's putting me. As you can see, I am down though, but that's mostly because if you notice, I was trying, I uploaded a lot more, and then consistency is key, folks. Cooking K says, hello. Icy, aka Christian, says, hey guys, long time no sees. How do you come up with titles? Paul Beck, thank you so very much for a $10 super chat. He says, get a coffee or whatever. You know what, Paul? We need to make sure that I'm going to message you before you go back to VidSummit 2020. One of the things that I always have to tell people is it's very difficult when it comes to finding that time. So to answer your question, ICAK Christian, hey guys, long time no see. How do I come up with titles? I use TubeBuddy's Keyword Explorer. I pretty much come here and I decide what is my video going to be about. Keyword Explorer is also very good because if you ever want to see what's trending in your region, you have the ability to choose where you are and you can see what's trending for that, right? So on my gaming channel, there's nothing trending I can see that I could go about. But if I'm like a film-based YouTube channel or even a sports YouTube channel or travel here, so Southwest airline attendants, like these are all subjects I could talk about that are trending. So the way I come up with a title, depends on what I want to do, right? So the next one I'm doing is on white balance cards for my personal channel. So if I do white balance card, that's what my video is really about. So this is the truest form of what it's about. I have TubeBuddy, which if you are not using TubeBuddy, tubebuddy.com/can, use code AndrewsBuddy for 25% off. Keep in mind, I do work in TubeBuddy, and that is an affiliate link, full disclosure. However, back to TubeBuddy. As you can see here, what I do is I type in what my video is ultimately about. Now, this is not my title, but this is what the video is about, right? So I craft my title from what I am then doing. So with that, I then go from white balance card, and then I need to look at what I see. Christina says, do you think it's too late to make a tree video? I wanted to make one about home builders destroying trees. Christina, I definitely don't think so. I mean, my key takeaway from that is, since you're making a video that's going to, one, be very hub, but two, your best bet would be trying to engage on Twitter, because you've done very well with engagement on Twitter personally, Christina. So if you wanted to do that, she's talking about, I'm sure, the Mr. Beast amazing tree stuff they are doing, raising $20 million to plant 20 million trees. I think you have such a unique voice there, Christina. I would definitely recommend it. Even if it doesn't, I would say that's a piece of maybe hub content at first. I definitely think there's search on it, and over time it could do well. And even if you tweet it out and Mr. Beast retweets it, that's going to be huge. So a lot of potential. So I would say go for it. Yes, Cooking K, to quote Vigard, please be patient. We will get there, I promise. The channel reviews are always a part of it. But I'm answering that question that we got from Icy, aka Christian. How do I come up with titles? So here we are at the white balance card. So obviously I'm not doing a white balance card ASMR, but okay, the internet never ceases to amaze me. That is what I'm seeing there. Gonna make this slightly larger. So the first thing I would say is once you have your thing, it's once you have your your main topic, it's discovering what you really want to make that video about. So my thing is, it would be how to use a white balance card, or maybe I talk about the differences between a white balance versus a gray card, right? Because some people don't know that. I'd probably make mine on white balance card how to use, just to take an idea of how many it is. So the search volume is fair. It's closer to the yellow, which I want. The competition is poor, meaning that there is a lot of competition, but the optimization strength isn't the best. So as I look here, I know that I could probably come in with a really decent video here and have a good chance of ranking. And even if you see here, this is another one, set your camera white balance with a gray card. So this is someone who is, YouTube is recommending this because while it's talking about white balance, it also sees gray card and it knows that people are looking for both. So see how I went from white balance card to a more specific video. Well, let's say I wanted to not target just YouTube. I also wanted to see what people are looking on Google. White balance card for video, Amazon. We can see different ways that people are searching for white balance card. Video searches is YouTube. Web searches is Google. Launchpad Astronomy says there's a lot of channels doing tree stuff. I wonder how it got started. Mr. Beast. Video topics is if you are looking for how to come up with the title. What is a gray card for white balance? How to use gray cards for white balance. These are video title ideas that TubeBuddy has come up, noticing both video and web searches, and obviously you can kind of figure it out for yourself on how you'd want to title it. But YouTube told me at VidCon this year that most creators only focus on that searchable element and forget to be compelling. So when you're making a title, I always put the searchable element first, and then I put that compelling element. So if we transition again. So how to use a gray card for white balance might make a lot of sense. But then I look here, and I have to remember that there are only 280 searches a month for this. So is this something I actually want to create a piece of content for? Because if I hit 400 views, then, well, I hit about the monthly searches, right? So a lot of times people will be like, I optimized the video to the T. Why did I only get 300 views? Well, if there's about 300 searches per month, you got 300 views. Yes, there's a chance to getting 300, but look at your click-through rate. If you have 2%, what is 2% of 300, right? So it's understanding all this data to understand what your view count is reflecting. Sometimes you may have optimized to a T, but you've optimized for a term not a lot of people are looking for. It's all about understanding the information you're giving, not giving, and then making sure you're using that well. So that's pretty much how I do it. So if I look here for video topics, I pretty much would, how to set white balance using a gray card is kind of what I was going to be going for. It's pretty good. Its search volume is fair, and we're going to see it, and it ultimately helps me get to, I guess, what I really wanted, which was how to set white balance. So you can really define all of the differences when it comes to using, the keyword explorer just to find what you're looking for. The Urban Explorer, aka Neil, says, look at them cute dimples. Launchpad Astronomy says, he's adorbs. I never know whether to say people's screen names or their IRL names, mostly because in the replay it's a little difficult if people don't know. So here's some dimples. Yeah, Neil actually did this to me in person. It was actually one of my highlights, no joke. There he goes, saying the Urban Explorer. As I say it, it says, I've touched those dimples. But I want to go ahead and start in the channel review process. I saw that we had Cooking K saying, don't forget about him. I will not, but we must first get to Tim Wood, who asked first. So the first thing I would say to Tim Wood is I see no channel trailer. I see only your popular uploads, so you're really missing out on the real estate that you have here. Because here's the thing. This should be the opportunity for people to see as much of your content as possible. Now, you may have more content than this. I don't know. But if I'm looking only on your first, I see the show more, which does, do that, but then I only see 10 videos. And if I go to the videos tab, I'm pretty sure you have more than 10 videos. From the guard says, not sure what the channel is about. So I see some skate stuff, but it's really difficult to see it, even on this. New videos every Wednesday, bonus videos on Sunday. So I know when to expect content. I know who the content is by, but it is a little difficult just from the banner to tell. And because there's no channel trailer that shows a recent piece of content, it's harder for me to understand. And even then, why should I subscribe to you, Tim Wood, would be my question, right? I see that you have new videos every Wednesday, but what are these videos about? Bonus videos on Sunday, what are these about? I'm assuming skateboarding, but even then, that's not clear. And then I have no reason why I should subscribe to you. Those are always the things I try to tell people, and it's a common thing I see that people, videos aren't specific, right? And then I see Shockwave review new version, I see Evolve Carbon AT, Bamboo Street for new writers. Like, if I don't know what this is about, it's very, very difficult to understand. And then I see all of this, which you have a lot more content than the 10 pieces I get to see, which is why creating those playlists make it very difficult, or not very difficult, but make it very easy for people to see at a glance what your channel is about. And because you're only using the popular uploads playlist, you're really missing out on maybe what is popular in those uploads, right? Like maybe you can do a playlist all about what is the best skateboard for new writers, right? And the more you break it down, the easier you make it for people to understand, the easier it is for people to be like, okay, if I want to know anything about skateboarding, again, I'm assuming based on this little thing right here, that is what your channel is about. And if it isn't, then that is a real bit of confusion. Launchpad Astronomy says, get that homepage in shape and you'll see improvement. Absolutely. Another thing I want to look at is you have only very few channel tags. And in your YouTube analytics, it's going to tell you what people have come to your channel for. Here we can look at 2019 for my gaming channel, just as the example. And I can see search terms that people have found my channel for. As you guys can see, Portal 2 Blind is definitely the most common one. But the point being is these all make sense to have as channel tags because they're actively drawing people in. So if I know all of these are what's bringing attention to my channel, it makes a lot of sense, if it's still relevant to your channel, to add those. Again, if you want to get there, all you have to do is go to your analytics, go to reach, YouTube search for traffic source. If you want to choose the date or time I did, just go up here. And again, it really does help on multiple fronts because so many people don't optimize their channel, when in reality, your channel can show up just as easy if someone types in electric skateboarder, they type in how to do something. If your channel shows up, that's really good. So another thing is, if I look here, you don't even have your name, Tim Wood, as a channel tag. So that's something to keep in mind. Icy aka Christian says, how do you put Tage on titles on your videos? I believe he means hashtags. To do that, all you do in a video description, if you go to a video's description, I'll show you for here, and this is just a video I've done it for, you'll see these hashtags show up. If you go into my video's description, I have the hashtags at the very bottom because if you're doing hashtags, you want to make sure that you're not using them in these first 200 characters. YouTube is using this right here, these first 200. This is a little more than 200, but the point being they're using them. I'll rezoom so it's a little easier to see. As you guys can see, this is where I keep my actual stuff for YouTube Learning. I put my hashtags at the very bottom because then they'll show up on the top right here. Premiere Rush tutorial, how to make your sound better. Keep in mind that hashtags are really not for creators at the moment, at least until they update them a little more. YouTube has come out and said they're really for users who would maybe search through hashtags, but again, it's pretty much figuring out how your user behavior is. So hopefully that answers your question. But if I were to give you a grade, Tim Wood, just kind of looking at how you're doing, there's a lot of missed opportunity where it's not that much focus is on making it easy for the user. And I'm zooming out just a little so people can see a little better on the overall size here. And then just kind of looking here, I don't really know. This one is your best thumbnail out of the ones I'm seeing because it has the most focus on what you're talking about. This one's a little confusing because if I were to just look at this thumbnail without getting to see the other stuff, I would be very confused. Shockwave review of new edition. That's fine, but I would maybe want to see what you're actually talking about a little more clearly, because if it is black, you're wearing black, this is black. The thing that stands out the most is the white box. Same here, the helmet is black, so when you're wearing white, that stands out more than the helmet. Always keep in mind those little things. So with that, if I were to give your channel a grade, I'd probably give it, because there is no channel trailer, because there is so much room for improvement, I'd probably stand by giving you, at least at the current, because you have 1.39K of subscribers here, you have 10K views on a video 8 months old, so it's clear like you know what you're doing, but your channel, when it comes to that optimization, can be a little bit better. And so for that, I'm actually going to give you a D+, because I can see you kind of know what you're doing, but all that really means is that you have so much room for improvement, and that it's so easy for you to change everything I mentioned today that it's not even, like, it is so easy. So that's why the grade is a D+. I know you can change that almost today. You could probably do it within the stream if you're still watching. I see from Cooking K, can I use ads to grow my channel? How? I've seen so many people grow channels through ads, but they're doing it for the wrong reasons. If you're going to run ads, have a clear reason to run the ads. If it is just to grow a channel, don't be surprised when those subscribers aren't necessarily watching religiously or not watching at all. I've had a couple of channels that are like, yeah, I bought ads to grow my channel, and it pretty much just tanked. Because they just put ads on the biggest YouTube channels, and those people, yeah, they subscribe, but they had no reason to come back. They're not their ideal audience. If you want to grow a YouTube channel, you have to focus on who you want to help. For example, my whole thing, I'm even wearing the shirt today, is if I can, you can too. That's the mindset I want my subscribers to gain when they watch my content. You watching in the stream now, I want you to believe that if I can do this, or if you can do this, your audiences can do it too. That's the beauty of YouTube, is that we live in an age where things are so accessible, more so than ever. So to answer your question, Cooking K, should you run ads to grow your YouTube channel? If you want to do that, hyper-focus on things that are relevant to the content you're making. Otherwise, what's the point of gaining subscribers if they're not going to watch? Even then, most subscribers, on average, YouTube says about 10% of people's subscribers watch their content. 10%. We see this from the highest up to the lowest of lows. It really is 10%. So I would say focus on making content that your ideal audience would love, more so than growing those subscriber numbers. Begard says, grow organically unless you sell product, which is a good point. So now I want to ask yet again, who would be down for a channel review? Because I am just wanting to make sure I get the most coverage. While we wait for that, though, the analytics also show you kind of who you're most suggested. On my gaming channel, I am the most suggested against myself. I also get a good amount of search from Google. I'm pretty sure that that's probably raised a lot since they've added the carousel to Google. So when I look here, and I usually show people this, playlists are so powerful. YouTube promotes my playlist on my gaming channel more than anything else. Then my next come from my channel page. So over this section here, 146,000 views, most of them came from playlists. And this is just my content working for me in the back end without me doing much. Now you might see that I have a low average view duration, but my content is 30 minutes. It's long form gameplay. When people do watch, they watch a lot. So that's something I have to tell people. It's understanding the different types of content per people. Launchpad Astronomy said YouTube disbanded with the subscriber model a while back. It's all about watch time now. Absolutely. Inside the Lab says they'll take a channel review. Let's go ahead and pull it up. So, looking here, let's go ahead and go right off the bat. Clear Channel trailer, which is how to build the ultimate budget Ryzen PC. First off, very clear of what this is going to be doing with Inside the Lab, building gaming PCs on a budget for gamers, content creators, and everybody else. So I know what you're doing. I know when you're doing it. I know that you have a live stream. And I see who it is. And I like how you said follow the journey. But here's the thing. On the follow the journey, this is cut off for mobile users. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing you got to keep in mind is if the only reason to subscribe to your channel is to support you, what value is a user getting? Because it's great to support you and I see the clear value you get, but what is the value I would get as a subscriber? That's the first thing I'd say, right? Like, I see that you're building gaming PCs on a budget. Great. I may be a budget creator, but what if I'm not? Right? So, and everybody else, it becomes where you have a clear defining of who you want to help, what you want to do, but there's not a real reason other than helping you to subscribe. So building gaming PCs on a budget so everyone has the chance or something like that, right? Like you have for who it's for, but not why they should subscribe. So subscribe to create to, again, it's knowing your audience. So subscribe, and this is just me freeballing it, so feel free. Paul Peck says, here's his traffic source stats while I'm coming up with ideas. Browse features, 32.6%. Search, 30.5%. External, 19.5%. Suggested videos, 9.5%. That's honestly really amazing, Paul, and it's good to have that. But Inside the Lab, I love that name. Subscribe to go inside the lab and create. It's hard. I'll figure something out, but the thing is, the reason to subscribe, because you have everything else, and it may be a little nitpicky, it's just this is so important to be clear and defined to a new user. On uploads, I would maybe change it to Inside the Lab's recent uploads. I see you have most viewed, so you are doing that, but don't forget it on your uploads too, because playlists are so important. I see you have your name for PC gaming benchmarks. I would maybe, since you have like you have ultimate budget Ryzen PC, I'd make playlists around that. And you may already have them, but you got to remember that the ones you have featured here really do matter. And this is where you can go back into those analytics. And this is what I tell people is like, look at your playlists. Like, look at what playlist YouTube is recommending for you, right? So for me, I know that these are my traffic source for playlists. These are the playlists I'm going to feature if it makes sense to my channel. Because if it still makes sense, these are the ones I want to feature high and have people, convert. And then we go within TubeBuddy, which is even more awesome. And then, obviously, if it makes sense, obviously it's not going to make sense to every playlist, but go in those analytics, see which playlists are doing really well for you for traffic, and see how they're performing. If you want to see how they're performing, you can go to see more. And then you can break it down to see just kind of if this is matching up. You can see the impressions, you can see the watch time, you can see the average view duration, right? Like I can see my Far Cry 2 playlist is a lot higher than the others. So whatever matters the most to you. If it's keeping people on your channel, that's something you may want to do. Now, because on my gaming channel, these are all really series dependent where one has to follow the other. The only one that's different is my specials. What I could do is when I'm editing, if I go ahead and select that, I can choose action with TubeBuddy, and then I can make the video ordering, and this requires a pro or higher, but again, if you use that link, I can then make it to which one has the highest average view duration, which one gets me the most subscribers, which one gets the most shares, likes, comments, whatever, so that it can really make those playlists work extra hard to help the channel out. Because what I'm seeing here from Inside the Lab, and I think you have a great channel, is making it more clear, even in the banner, but even featuring content that's keeping people watching, featuring content that's getting you subscribers, and featuring all of those things. Look in those analytics, see what's working for you. And again, we're taking a deeper dive today on these channels. It's because I want to show people that there's so much information in those analytics that you can be using for free. Again, going back to my whole thing of if I can, you can too. Let's transition back to Inside the Lab's YouTube channel. Overall, though, I really do like it. Again, I'm getting I'm getting a little nitpicky, but again, you're doing a lot here. I like how the first thing I see is how to build the ultimate budget Ryzen PC. If I go to the about, as a subscriber and bell ringer, you'll enjoy new content delivered every week on Saturday and Sundays. Again, it's that seems to be the only value point you're offering for the subscriber. Your goal as a content is to build a community of passionate PC. That should be here. It's one of the things where I see a lot in your about, but understanding that most people don't make it to the about. I see here, subscribe to learn how. That might be a reason. It could be there. Duty Ron, it says, I have too, buddy, but I got to learn how to use it to its fullest. My time is limited because of my work schedule. Watch How to Optimize a Video for Beginners. It is probably the best TubeBuddy video I've ever made. It is in 12, I think it's like 8, maybe 12 minutes. I'm not 100% sure on the time. It's been a while. But it is the best video to how to understand how to use TubeBuddy immediately, at least in the keyword side. So that's what I recommend. Thank you so much, Launchpad Astronomy. I thought you were a mod. I gotta make sure I do that. We all need to be YouTube suggested. So suggested comes from YouTube having a clear understanding what your channel is about. A lot of people are like, how do I get suggested? Well, one, would it make sense for YouTube to suggest your content against another piece around that same genre, right? So on my gaming channel, I get suggested a lot against other Let's Players, game reviews, things like that, because YouTube knows that game I've played gets people watching for long periods of time. So let's suggest it against a review of that game. Let's suggest it around related things to the topic, which is the game I've played. Understanding that, if you're, for example, in the Urban Explorer's case, a van life channel, which is a very, very gross simplification, but we have to remember YouTube simplifies things and does its best, because Neil is a lot more than just that. He is entertaining. But suggested traffic is hard because YouTube has to say, why should I suggest you over someone we know who's going to get views, watch time, subscribers, etc.? That's where you have to have that catalog of content to where YouTube first can make sure you're being suggested against yourself. If you're not getting suggested against your own content, then you really need to see, how can I make a through line to understand how not only my content is related to itself, but so YouTube can understand that. That's where those playlists come in handy. That's where making sure it's clear what you're doing. And speaking of clarity, that is where that one thing you're missing inside the game, inside the lab, really can come into play. I do like your thumbnails. My thing would be, why should I buy this GPU? You're saying to buy it, but why? I think that this is super compelling, but maybe not searchable, which is we're finding GTX 970, which is probably what you're targeting in 2019, probably searchable. Buy this GPU instead. Instead of what? When your SSD fails, try this budget fix. So I like that thumbnail. I think it's actually pretty solid in what you're trying to do. Hello, 3D Plastic Fantasy. So overall, if I were to give Inside the Lab a grade, I'd say it's really solid. It's just making sure those playlists you have featured are really doing well for your channel, making sure you're following through on that. I would have to say I'm going to give you a B, and then I'm going to give you a minus, because there are just some things you can change pretty easily. Find that reason for people to subscribe. That's going to be the biggest holdup right now for me on a higher grade. Paul Peck said, has linked that video. Thank you so much, Paul. Greatly appreciated it. Duty Ron, thank you so much. Andrew, thanks for all you do for the content creators out there. That is greatly appreciated. I do my best to help anyone I can when it comes to YouTube, because for me, YouTube has literally changed my life. It took me out of my small town. It lets me live in the beautiful city of Los Angeles. It lets me help creators like you every chance I get. If you saw me at VidSummit, you will know that I never left the booth because I believe the most I can do is help content creators. And even when I was leaving, I stayed up till 12, the last day I got to be there, helping creators, reviewing their channels, because if there's any opportunity I ever have to help, that's what I want to do. So let me help you by going to your channel. First, let me know what you all think of Inside the Lab's channel by giving him a grade as well. First, I see Duty Ron. Straight talk on true crime, personal safety, and more. Retired NYPD detective. Thank you for your time in the law enforcement sector. Crime time with Duty Ron. Love that. So the first thing I would say is Crime time with Duty Ron. I'm assuming that's maybe like a series or like your slogan. Straight talk on true crime, personal safety, and more from a retired NYPD detective. I love this. I think it is solid. I think it is clear what you are doing. This is where I always say, similar to what we saw with Inside the Lab, subscribe to channel. Well, why? I'm assuming it's to help you. So maybe it's subscribe for real facts on crime and to be more safe. That's a real reason to subscribe, right? So I'm seeing cool things. I love, first of all, like the color theming, it's there. I would say another thing you could do is, when are you going live, right? Like any new, like, because you're a retired detective, you were given a schedule, you know that people rely on those. So the more you give there gives your subscribers that reminder to, hey, come back, subscribe. Or, hey, this is when Ron is going to be live. Let's do it. And you have 12,000 subscribers. That's amazing. So let's think of those new people who are coming to the channel and may not necessarily know. Duty Ron says, thank you all. I'm an amateur at this, guys. And again, I'm understanding that completely. When I give a review as if I gave it to anyone else. I make sure that it is as even as possible. I make sure that it is from the perspective of someone who may not know the channel. So as we transition, the guard says, that's okay. We all got something to learn. Absolutely. I'm still learning is my favorite quote from Michelangelo. So, created playlist. This kind of goes into what I was talking about, even with Inside the Lab. Because of your channel size, Ron, I would definitely look at your analytics to see what traffic source for your playlist are really doing the best for you in your reach, and then featuring those playlists and making sure that they're not only featured, but they're searchable too. So that is the first thing I'd say. I see you have your past live streams, so I didn't even know that you went live. So that's something to keep in mind. That could be another community side. I see the uploads. Based on your size, I would say Duty Ron's recent uploads. And you're very active too, so having that higher over the created playlist helps new users know, hey, he's active, where comparatively, I can't tell where to start on this. So that's what I would say here. I would then say, if I look at your about, we may have more information. I'm a retired NYPD and a 9/11 World Trade Center first responder. Wow, thank you. Never forget, genuinely. Thank you, Ron. Public safety and interaction. I talk about current and past criminal cases with public service announcements. I also cover breaking news stories. So there is a lot that you're covering, and I get it's all under true crime, and I think that's amazing. So I actually, maybe for you, for your recent uploads, maybe create like recent uploads, crime time with Duty Ron. I think that makes so much sense to make that as your current. current recent uploads. I think that's amazing. Self-publishing with Dale. Welcome, Dale. It was great to eat lunch with you and Kelly at VidSummit. See, if you want to get me, you got to get me on my lunch, because that's probably when your best bet is going to be. But Duty Ron, I really, really do love this. I think that's incredible. So I see the stuff here. I think that there's so much you could do, just because true crime, like, it is so fascinating to me as well. Like, I think if the more you make it easy for people to see what you're really about, the better. I like the channel intro. I would maybe say get rid of the hashtags comparatively here. I would say maybe something. I would maybe say crime time with Duty Ron, or maybe even focusing on a search term that makes sense. Or because I always go for channel trailers can be searchable if you let them be. Jay Lipman says, either at lunch or early in the morning. It was great meeting you. Thank you, Jay. It was great meeting you as well. Getting a lot of people in the chat. Really great to see just so many people. So that's what I would say for you, Duty Ron. Looking at your thumbnails, I would be curious to what kind of like your standpoint is on them. I definitely kind of like, I'm not sure if this is a thumbnail you created or you found it online. I would actually, if you have more videos where you discuss 9/11 in your story, I would love a playlist about that, because you're a genuine, honest to God hero. And I think that would be amazing to share. So with that, that's what I'd recommend too. And I think that more people, like, there's a generation now that it's interesting, because at VidSummit I met people of all different ages. Like, there are people now who weren't alive during 9/11 that are on YouTube and need people like you to help them. Like when Jon Stewart helped those 9/11 first responders, like, that was huge and that got a lot of attention. So I'm curious if you have an opinion on that as someone who was there, right? So these are just things to think about. You have a unique story, and I think you have an amazing channel idea. So I want to see you be successful there, Duty Ron, as we transition back. Duty Ron says, thank you for thanking me. Well, here we are to pull light off. But I really think you have a good channel. I think that there's just a few messaging things that could be a little easier to make it clearer for new subscribers. You have a lot in your about that I would like to see here. I also think, I don't know, most people say you should be in the banner. I would say I would like to see you in your banner, but I also understand the theming of it is really good. I would say maybe just letting us know when you go live, giving us a clear reason to subscribe is what I'd really want. I would say re-optimize your front homepage so that, I get that you have your created playlist here, but really show people what you want them to see. That is what I'd say. Duty Ron says, I have a video with John. See, but I could not see. It's not that easy for me to see it. So there's no, that's a great example of, because it's not super easy for me to see, I have no idea that was there. So that's actually proving that point in real time. Now, if you're asking me to find it through here, I mean, I could hit Control F, right? And then as we load, you may see, the point being is that, like, here I am here, I'm gonna try again. Maybe I have to do this instead, but then it goes into, I found one. If I go down here, I see that there's another, but it goes into that there's so much content, the easier you make it, the more likely I am to see it, and things like that. So that's just kind of that real-time example of that point I was making, that it's very hard for me as someone who doesn't know the channel to even know that was there. So hopefully, Duty Ron, that kind of just puts that in perspective. I think you have an amazing channel. I think you're a hero. However, that being said, I'd probably give you that B- as well. There's some things that you can change. It's just making sure it's clarity. That's what I always tell people. Clarity is so important. So I see Mama Aaliyah. When I first used all the TubeBuddy tools, my impressions almost tripled, but after a week they went back down. Any thoughts? So looking there, Mama Aaliyah, on that, I would say that if your impressions tripled, then that means that you were able to show up. One, you probably were getting boosted by the new tag on your videos. People don't know what that is. I should probably make a video all about the new tag. You would hope that YouTube ever talks about features they do, but that was before Creator Insider and before we have the amazing Tom to help us out. So that might be a video I create. Ryan A. Raymond, thanks for all the channel tips a couple weeks ago. Ryan, you are in the queue. I'm going to do Cooking K, though, because he's been patiently waiting. So, Ryan, you will be right after Cooking K. Jay Littman says, I'm planning on being there. Need the money first. You have a year to plan, was what Vigard says. All about VidSummit. Man, VidSummit's amazing. So, I'm going to make sure that I add both Ryan A. Raymond and that we add Cooking K. Duty Ron says, thank you again. I learned something new each time I watch you. Duty Ron, thank you. I don't know. I don't know if I can say that enough. Seriously, thank you. Thank you. So let's get Cooking K in as well, making sure we keep this going. So I have those both pulled up in the queue. But to answer your question back, Mama Aaliyah, you're probably getting the new tag. And if we get to that point, if you're interested in a review, let me know. So that's what I would say. Kelly Publish is in here as well. We have Dale. We have Kelly Publish. We have a whole party here this early morning. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I do genuinely appreciate each and every one of you for spending time with me. Transitioning now. So now let's go. Cooking K has been patient. They have been kind. So we upload daily afternoon. CookingK.com. Best cooking recipes from India and Pakistan. So here's at least a good reason. Subscribe and press the bell icon so you never miss any recipe. I like that. I would say subscribe and press and ring the bell so you never miss a new recipe and become a better cook. Because Cooking K, and then you can put cook with a K because that's your whole thing. So I would do that, because that right there, clear value prop, clear everything. Ryan A. Raymond is on a multitasking grocery run. Hopefully everything's going well. So as I look here, easy breakfast recipe by Cooking K, delicious recipes by Cooking K. You said that you're not getting views and you're considering giving up. I'm seeing that you have 1.7K subscribers. Your views are pretty decent here. The first thing I would say, though, is I don't know how your recent uploads are doing because your first one is popular. So you talk about never missing a recipe, right? And you're talking about your new uploads, but where do they start? Because I see all these easy and I see all these things, but a lot of these are a year old, a year ago. It looks like you're inactive. It looks like you're not uploading, but you say you are. The newest I see is 6 months. So this actually goes into where if you're talking about you upload daily, well, it doesn't actually look like you upload daily in the content I see. So that's the first thing I'd say, is making sure that if you're like, make sure you have some recent content up there, because it does look like you haven't uploaded in a while. And I know that is probably not the case, but you got to remember, if someone's new, they don't know. So because you talk about uploading daily, that's why it should be so important. Another thing I would consider is, because you have such a nice channel scheme here, maybe you color code these with some borders, right? Help it stand out against the white and even the black, right? Like use those blue and greens, because they're really going to help these pop even against a white background, even within the search. So I think you have a decent channel looking here. I mean, we have who we are and what we do. So Cooking K is a place you can learn how to make delicious food at home. Subscribe and ring the bell icon so you never miss a recipe and so you can cook delicious food at home. Sign, seal, deliver, it's yours. Food is the only universal thing that has the power to bring everyone together. I love that. Friggin', there's so many reasons to subscribe. Subscribe because best cooking recipes, because we believe food brings people. God, it's so good. It's just the messaging isn't consistent, and that's what I'd say you're missing here. Duty Ron says, I'm following you now on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Launchpad Astronomy says, or change your header to say uploads weekly or remove the line altogether. Absolutely. You want to keep clear on what you are doing. But I'm seeing that seems to be more weekly than it was daily. So that is something you can change. You have a 4 days ago, 1 week ago. Now, if we look at about 10%, you should be averaging 170 views. Some do a little better. It seems like over time your videos do better from the initial upload. It could be because you, as I saw, you said you bought ads in the past. And if that's the case, then you may have some decent, like, quick videos, but it may be hurting you for that long term. Again, I would say keep the consistency up, have your most recents, have these videos, these playlists are very well optimized, but not all of them. So I see these aren't as optimized as the others. Same going here. And what I mean by optimizing them is you get a searchable, easy snack recipes. The thing is by Cooking K is what then delicious. By adding the by Cooking K, it's not that compelling. Delicious by Randy recipes you can do at home is way more compelling, and it goes back to what you have in your about. I just say it's that lack of consistency and clarity I'm seeing here at Cooking K. But it really smart, like, channel layout, really good. Just, update this. I would then say you're driving people to your website, which is probably your main thing you want to do with this. So I understand your logic there. Because of that, I'd say that this is an easy, I'm going to give you a C+. And the reason is because it's the lack of consistency, the lack of clarity, and just making it easy. But it's so easy for you to change all of those things, Cooking K. Like, those are the things I'm seeing just on the channel side that can be changed to help you do just that little bit better. So that's what I'd say there. Paul Peck says, make a custom playlist, recent uploads, so you can add a description in the playlist and optimize it, make it searchable. Absolutely. Cooking K's recent uploads. Easy. Or Cooking K. I usually say recent upload. I know some people do latest videos, and you don't have to use exactly recent uploads. Like, that's where you get to be creative, but make sure people know it's like that's when you're like your most recent stuff. Overall, really cool stuff. Transitioning to Ryan A. Raymond, who I've reviewed before, so I'm going to be even harder. Mama Aaliyah, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Says, would love a channel review. Absolutely, you are going to be added to the queue right about now. So, merch by Amazon, tips and tutorials to grow your print-on-demand t-shirt business. Subscribe to never... Oh, here we are. Well, first off, you got me here because that's hilarious. I'm not sure if you were going for the Sistine Chapel, where it almost touches, but it doesn't, but fantastic. Improvement Geek says, could I please get a channel review? Thank you for the tips you've been giving today. Of course, Improvement Geek, you are added to the queue. So, let's go back to Ryan A. Raymond. Closer images of each dish, food may help, says Michael Healy. Great point to give to Cooking K. So, as we look here, subscribe to never miss a live stream. I would say subscribe to grow your print-on-demand business, t-shirt business. Like, to grow tips and tutorials. Like, subscribe to grow your print-on-demand business to share your brand or something like that. Something that really makes sense. So one thing I'm noticing is I don't see that channel trailer, and I'm not sure if there's a reason for that, Ryan. So that would be my thing. I do like that you're featured here. I like that you have your branding consistent. I know you're on a grocery run, so I'm going to be... Improvement Greek says, in preparing to be roasted. Well, if people can tell you, the one time I did a roast stream with the Nimmons, I'm not sure if people were too happy about it, but I enjoyed myself. So looking here, keyword combination to unlock sales, merch by Amazon, beginner tips. If you're helping, that could be another thing. Whether you're an expert or a beginner, help subscribe to grow more sales, right? Like that is a clear value prop. and it gives something to immediately help people, right? Merch by Amazon research tutorials, how to find a low competition niche. Perfect. Merch by Amazon listing tips, clear, define, optimize. Merch by Amazon niche research. Again, really well. You really took that advice to heart. This is looking good. Now I'm going to go deeper because I've given you a review before, but the first thing I'd say here is these thumbnails are all very similar, and here's something people I'm telling more people lately is try to avoid red at the bottom, because YouTube displays that as if you've watched a video as red, and I've seen in habits of my own friends of watching people. Ellie Publish comes in with $100 super chat. Because you're awesome, no need for a channel review. Kelly, thank you so much. Thank you and Dale for lunch. Thank you for the opportunity to help your channels. Thank you for everything you two are both doing when it comes to everything you do on YouTube. That means so much, genuinely. Also, Kelly now is officially the highest super chat I have ever gotten. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I might tear up. Woo! All right, back to these channels. Who's cutting onions in here? How dare you? Oh. Thank you, Dale. And thank you, everyone who's watching, genuinely. Whew, now I gotta wipe these onions from my eyes. But going back to that point, the red here can make people think that they watched it before. Woo. I do like the uploads, and popular uploads are here. Going on to that tip that Paul mentioned in the chat is Neil says get into a war with Kelly. So I would say for these, I understand your reasoning, Ryan, and so with that, I would say I would still maybe say Ryan A. Raymond recent uploads and popular uploads. You probably are to a point where people are searching for you. So you don't have to put him as your first. I get by Merch by Amazon beginner tips, but because I don't see a channel trailer, it's one of those things. Ryan A. Raymond says, Kelly and Dale are amazing. They have helped you so much. That should be a collab in finding a way to make it work. I have Dale's banana sticker and his self-publishing by Dale stickers on my laptop, as well as the Urban Explorers, your real estate whisperers. You give me a sticker, it's going on my laptop. I'm pretty simple. So that being said, Ryan, like, you have done so much. I still don't know if the channel trailer is like supposed to be there. It's just not showing. Paul Peck, I always appreciate the super chats. Don't ever, and I mean this, I hope no one ever feels like obligated to give one. I do always appreciate it. So self-publishing with Dale said, I have collaborated with Ryan on my second channel. He was gracious and giving. I might need to talk to Ryan about how to get my merch out there. And luckily, I know how to grow my print-on-demand business. So Ryan, you actually are going to be helping me very soon by watching your content. So that being said, because I am biased and because I see a lot of improvements, not sure again, the channel trailer is... Paul, you should subscribe to both Kelly and Dale. Amazing content creators, amazing people. So Ryan A. Raymond, you have earned that A in your name. You get an A, but it's not all the way. It's an A minus. Always room for improvement. I want to see a channel trailer. I want to see again, it's so nitpicky, but I would recommend changing up the thumbnail design on this just because they all look too similar. Similar things to here. Just check your click-through rate. Again, all those things I would say to do just to make it a little better. A minus, I feel, is a very fair grade. You worked very hard, and I see the improvement. Just work on the reason to subscribe. Do those small changes. Overall, thank you for the opportunity, as always. So, that being said, we are ready to look at more channels. Mama Aaliyah is up next, but in the meantime, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, once again for watching. If you're enjoying the stream, consider please giving a like, subscribing for more. if you're interested in streams, but also how to create better content. I believe filmmaking should not just be limited to the people that go to film school. I think everyone has a chance. I believe if I can, you can too. So let's go to Mommy. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I'm terrible at names. That's been like my biggest fear. Not that I'm bad, but I'm just terrible at names. Oh, someone texts me. Do not text me while I'm streaming, please. Andrew Can, thanks for the review. Working on a channel trailer. I know the banner is pretty plain also. Well, thank you for the genuine feedback. Before we look, someone find the person who gave it a thumbs down and bring them to me, says Launchpad Astronomy. Well, I understand I'm not for everyone. Mama Aaliyah. So, 21.6 thousand subscribers. Clearly, you have someone who you are clearly have built a community. That said, because communities are important, this is why I'm going to say subscribe for weekly videos. The only time I know you're going weekly. So when you redo this banner, give me a reason to subscribe. Let me know about when you're uploading and tell me what you're uploading, because I'm assuming it's mom-based content. Fair. I would then say, like, an easy one is helping parents become better parents, or learn how to be a better parent by subscribing today, or something like that. Obviously, it may not be exactly right. I do like what you have. I think, honestly, you could probably just move this up, include more, maybe include yourself, because it is called Mama Aaliyah, but ironically, you're kind of missing from your own banner. So, just a little something there. Paul Peck and Neil going at it, but it's okay. So I do like the new to Mama Aaliyah. Immediately I see here. You did say you had no channel trailer, so it is good to know that. I will say, because you don't have one yet, I always recommend putting a piece of content so that a new viewer, and that is from Nick Nimmin. It's just so you pretty much have something here to let people know what to expect. Also, it's a good chance to get views on a video that you really care about. So I like that you have your uploads. You have new to Mama Aaliyah. I would say I'd probably Aaliyah. Am I pronouncing that right? Hopefully. Oh boy, here we go. YouTube Civil War 2. I like this, our trying to conceive journey. I think that's probably really, one, relatable, and this is a great thing to talk about. I like how you've made it really easy for people. Parenting product reviews. I'm seeing a lack of descriptions on some of these, but I'm seeing them on more. I would, since I don't know what you're talking about. That's where, like, having that focus of what your content, if anything, the person who's going to see your channel banner the most, and I tell people this, is yourself. So if you're ever sitting there and unsure or confused about what you should be doing on your channel, I always tell people, look at your banner. Look at that. That's your constant reminder of who you're doing this for. If not your audience, even yourself, you see it all the time. I've seen so many people embarrassed to show me their channels because they're like, oh, I hate my banner. It's like, no, be proud of what you're creating. Be proud of it. Work on it. It's all things we can do, and it's all things that matter in the long run, because that's what we should do. So and again, this isn't like me going in on Mama Aaliyah. It's just an idea in general, things to think about. And you might have more in your about, which you do. I'm a 26-year-old woman who takes enormous pride in her husband and 3 little girls. Our oldest daughter, Sophie, is 5. Remy is our middle daughter, 3.5. I love this. I love that you have, because of my experiences with repeated pregnancy loss and exclusively humming, I found passion to educate and support moms through their journeys with both. Again, right here, all you need to put is in your about, but most people don't make it to the about. Make sure it is here, please, because that is such a unique and different view on it. And that's why I love YouTube. There's so many unique and different people on this platform. And I love that we can all come together in a live stream. Exactly what Vigard says. Things don't have to be perfect right away. Keep working on it. That's the best thing to say. So I like your thumbnails. I like what you're doing. You clearly have an audience. I want to see if you're active. You're active in the community tab. Community tab, really active, actually. I'd keep that activity up because, fun fact, YouTube is starting to give us more information on that community tab. Gotta love that. Basically, community tab, if people are active there, they're more likely to be served your videos because they're interacting with your content. Can't put out a piece of content that week? Community tab. Or create a new playlist, or both. If you can. Transition back. Really love this. Cool to see. Genuinely. I would say, like, you are a great example of someone who has, like, a pretty solid channel. Like, genuinely solid channel. It's just those little tweaks you can make. So with that, because there's a lot missing for what I need, and again, this is my own personal opinion, I'm going to give a solid C+ here, Mama Aaliyah. Like, really solid. Just fix those things that I know you need to do. Come back, and definitely want to see that improvement. And just also go to those analytics, right? Like, look at the things that are really resonated with your audience from a playlist standpoint. You know, like if I were to click on here and check out your channelytics, like, do you have channel tags? You do, but your channel name isn't there. Your stuff you're doing isn't there. And this all matters. All of it matters. So, that being said, hopefully, Mama Aaliyah, that gives you some stuff to work on. I'd love to see that updated stuff. And if you ever make improvements, and this goes to anyone, feel free to reach out on any of the social medias that are linked on my channel, or just come back for another review, like Ryan A. Raymond, or Paul Peck, who comes every time, and I do appreciate you, like Neil. I love getting to see repeat people. I love it. And it really does mean a lot. RPM Nexus, there's so many people who are new, so many people that come back, and it does really, really make me happy to see. Mama says, and Mama Leah says, Andrew Can, thank you so much. Great info. In reference to those improved impression boosts, those are old videos. Will they still get the new tag? So if old videos are starting to get impression boosts, then what that means is YouTube is trying to see, hey, what if we put these out there? Because of that, if they're getting an impression boost because you've re-optimized them with TubeBuddy, it may be a good idea to get people to show again. From the Urban Explorer, aka Neil, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. This is because I like Andrew and we shared a moment at Vid Summit, even though I had to suffer being around public, but I didn't fall asleep talking to Andrew. Oh, God. Neil, you were amazing to meet. Hold on. 1 second. Also, Paul, I need to get more stickers from you because I looked in my bags and I could not find your sticker. Hold on. The Urban Explorer. And this is Dale's first one. And I'm also working on putting more on my camera case, which is where the banana is, because I find it hilarious that there's only a banana on it. Woo, there we go. Wow, Neil. That being said, let's go move forward to the Improvement Geek. All right. He said it's time for a roasting. Improvement Geek says, how do I get to channel tags? What I found on Google is outdated. Well, I would show you, but unfortunately sensitive information is revealed when you try to get to that section now. Thanks, YouTube. I know it's through advanced. It's one of those things that it is actually very usable still, and YouTube's is classic YouTube where we've made it difficult to get to. So, ready. I found them in the old studio. That's probably the best place I can show you, Improvement Geeks. So, if you can walk Mama Aaliyah how to get there, that'd be good. So, Improvement Geek. Scientific self-improvement to help you achieve your goals. New uploads every Saturday morning. So, love this. Scientific self-improvement. Subscribe to use since it's scientific self-improvement, subscribe to learn it's like wording, it's always the weird part. I know what I want to say. Basically, subscribe to learn new scientific ways to improve your life. Seems like a really easy one. I like Improvement Geek. I think it's clear. I'd like to know, maybe you're doing like Science Saturdays or Science Sundays. Like you let people know, hey, here's when I go live. Here's when to expect. I like Improvement Geek. Keep in mind though, IG, if that is what you go for, people might think Instagram first, just as a heads up. I like the brain though, and I think that's really cool. I like the purple theming. I see it even on your channel trailer. Self-improvement methods. Well, you talk about how these are scientific. So are these scientific or are they just self-improvement methods? So you say, I would say self-improvement methods through psychology and neuroscience. That's way more descriptive, more searchable. Again, overcoming problems. The more specific you are in the better. My self-improvement story, instead of I would say Improvement Geek, because that could be searchable, and then obviously because that's the name of your channel, that is yours, and it's more searchable and it's more relatable to you. And I really think that's awesome. Similar to what I said about that red border, that's a mistake I've made and I've been cautioning away. Other stuff I see, you have your channel intro, how can Neuralink help us, Twitter or Twit IRL experience and lessons. I would say for other stuff, I would be careful in what you put here, and I tell people this because sometimes you may have one thing blow up here that then dwarfs your whole channel, and then YouTube thinks your channel's about that. Not saying you shouldn't do that content, just make sure that when you are doing that content, it's content you wouldn't mind going very well. Again, looking here, subscribe for useful science. I love that. I love the call to action. The about page, and this is something that actually YouTube has told us for Google. If you have a schedule, make sure you put it in your description. That's something I'm working on for myself. YouTube pulls from your about page when you upload and all those things, and it really does matter if you're trying to get that like extra help to it, because like if you have a website or if people type in Improvement Geek and they want to know, or they ever type in when does Improvement Geek go live, I was so surprised on TubeBuddy, for example. When does TubeBuddy upload new content? Paul Peck and Neil back at it again. Paul Peck says, kiss my grits, Neil. God, now I want grits. Gotta go make some tomorrow then. But thank you so much, Paul Peck, for the $10 super chat. But back to Improvement Geek. There's so much here. I know you said you wanted like me to break it down, but they're really not much. What are grits? Grits are a corn-based cereal that you create warm, and it sounds awful, but if you're from the South, you've grown up with them. So it's one of those things where I love them, but I understand if no one else does. So looking here, self-improvement. Again, there's so many little changes here. God, now I gotta show what grits are. But Improvement Geek, if I were to give you a quick grade, just to make those small changes, you're at a solid B for me. I am back. Sorry for the delay, but let's talk about grits today. These are grits. They are smooth and creamy texture, enriched with hominy. Quick in 5 minutes. Wasn't kidding. We lost Andrew. Is he fixing grits? I am not fixing grits, but I'm here to educate. They are basically a corn-based meal. They are very good. That is my whole spiel on grits. Transitioning back. Actually, I think that's it for the Super Chat channel reviews. I like to do some free channel reviews as well. Of course, Super Chats always take the priority. So, not seeing that. Mama Leah's best tip yet. Grits are good. 10 out of 10. We're done for the... Thank you, everyone. No, grits are great, but they're not going to help your YouTube channel grow unless you're a grit cooking YouTube channel. I guess we're getting down and gritty. I understand. There goes more dislikes. Cheers. So, if you would like a channel review, I have to make recipe for grits, says Cooking K. Cooking K, if you do, share it with me, please. Michael Healy says porridge oats by Quaker. I don't have any of those. I don't think I've ever had porridge, now that I think about it. The Nitty Gritty says Midnight Madness. If you were interested in a review, though, please let me know. Would love a review, says Midnight Raven. Awesome. Now, Midnight Raven was saying they have an awesome channel banner, so I'm expecting perfection. Oh, so close. Just kidding. So first off, it is nice to see that right here with the channel tags, because I get to see this. The Midnight Raven uniquely, this is how I read it, the Midnight Uniquely Goth Raven. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be how it reads, but that's how I'm reading it. Raven makes sense. I get Edgar Allan Poe vibes, obviously, the Raven. So, the couple things here, if it is a goth-based YouTube channel, maybe tell me, like, helping you find your inner goth every midnight, maybe, and then subscribe for uniquely goth content or something like that. It's something where it's like, that's a very basic, and I wouldn't even actually say that, but it's like finding the reason to subscribe. My channel trailer is actually not that well descriptive to understand what it's about. I'm sure if I watch it, though. I would say from a visual standpoint, I would say the Midnight Ravens channel trailer, so it's a little bit more search friendly and related to you. Bogard says, I feel the text is a bit squished. That's pretty fair. The first thing I see here is She's Always a Woman cover. So I actually had no idea. So is this a cover? Is this music? Because then I see productive work tips. So what happens if I like the music, but I don't care about the productivity tips? And then I see a season of Halloween tag, which makes super sense to what you're about. I would recommend not putting your hashtag in the title, because that's not what YouTube would recommend either, because the Midnight Raven, first off, is your channel. If you want to put hashtags, I'd put them in the end of your description. I would also say that the odds of people searching for your name is, at least at your current size, is probable, but then them using the hashtag is even less. Paul Peck brings up a great point. This might be getting cut off in mobile too, so it might read more like this, which I know probably isn't the intention. I would also, when it comes to like what you're known for, it seems like Maid of Honor Wedding Duties, App Tutorial, Cheat Face Mask Haul, 10 Types of Goth, Shutterfly Wedding Invitation Samples Kit. It's a little confusing of what the content is, and if I'm a new subscriber, and let's say I really like your covers, I guess when I see all this other stuff, there isn't a very clear focus on what I should be focusing on as a new subscriber, like what I should expect. Welcome, Cocktail Legend, who said, just got here, what's up? Doing a channel review. So I would say it's a lack of clarity, and maybe it's there and you're about. I think your banner from an aesthetically standpoint is very pretty. I like it a lot, actually, but it doesn't tell me enough information for what I'd want it to be on a YouTube channel. Like if this was a Twitter banner, I think it'd be fine. But as a YouTube banner, it's not telling me a lot. So I see here, hi, I'm Midnight Raven, and I am a goth. I am a goth. My channel is okay. I think it is, I am a goth, period. My channel is about anything and everything. I love to do subscription unboxing, shopping hauls, and mystery boxes of various items. So I would say you're a goth-based variety channel would be my best educated guess. And since you're keeping it in the realm of goth, it's understanding that all the random things you do can be hub content, but you also need to find a way to create search-friendly content to grow, because hub content is good for these 1.6 thousand subscribers, but it's understanding that in between. Cocktail Legend, all you have to do is ask if you or of course, as I say, want a channel review, super chats always take the priority. So Cocktail Legend, I'm gonna add you to the queue if you're interested. Welcome, Hybrid Steel, aka Mike. Gotta do that just so the live replay doesn't get confused. So you put right here, trying to work out what to do when I did my darker goth stuff, people told me to lighten up more. So I would say basically you have an audience of multiple different things. I would say since you are a more variety channel, it's like finding what works, because what seems to have worked for you in the past was like maid of honor duties, app tutorials. Like it's still kind of all over the place. And if your channel is about goth, it seems a little confusing. So it's finding what you enjoy making and that keeps to that goth that I would say would be the main focus to you, the Midnight Raven. Because right now it's just there's that lack of clarity. So I would give you a solid C right now. And I'd say there's some things you can do to improve. Thank you, Paul. I do appreciate it. So Cocktail Legend asked for a channel review. So let's get this to pull up. In the meantime, great to see everyone yet again. Do appreciate all of you. Feel like we are all feeling that Niminati burn of not having it. But if you're at VidSummit, you got to experience them live, which I argue is just as nice. Even better. Got the opportunity to hang out with them all in Australia. It was amazing to hang out with both Nick and Dee. Didn't get to see Dan Nimmin, though, one of these days. Dan Nimmin is the elusive third Nimmin. And one day, the search for Dan. So, bringing you amazing cocktails for everybody. Cocktail Legend. New videos every week. Subscribe for legendary videos. So, I love this. Bringing you amazing cocktails for everybody. Makes sense. New videos every week. My main thing, I guess, would be subscribe for legendary videos. I would say subscribe to create legendary cocktails and to become a legend yourself. Immediately clear cocktail legend, fixes right there, makes sense. Dan Nimmin. Dan Nimmin is a bit shy of a guard. Fair point, Midnight Madness, aka Charlie. Dan Norton is Dan Nimmin in disguise. The truth is coming out. Now, as I look here, I love your band. Like, I love your branding here. I'd kind of like to see it up here too, just a little bit. I'd also say maybe put the subscribe button, because you're driving people off platform. Unless like that is your main like focus, Instagram. I'd always tell people to try to bring them back to the subscribe here. I haven't posted a video in a few months. I've been working on getting my stuff together, which is fair. So this is all stuff that you can, use when you come back, and you can come back stronger. Since you are taking a break, this goes to anyone who's taking a break. Look at your most popular piece of content that has engaged your audience and that has driven views. Then, when you come back, don't make an announcement that, hey, I'm coming back, because that kills the push immediately you get from YouTube. YouTube has said this with a very in-depth series with Elle Mills, which, again, it's hard to find now. I think part of it ended up, they unlisted, and then it's hard to recommend things from YouTube because they do things that make me go, why? But basically, it's not a bad thing. Transitioning back, I would look at your most popular and look at your analytics to what really resonated. We can do this here and try to make a part 2 or a follow-up. Now, looking here, this is something you got to keep in mind. My trip to Rose Hall Great House in Montego Bay, I would maybe do a shot-based drink, like a shot-based cocktail. I think that would really do well. Or maybe you do something like the Midnight Martini, because these are things that have really resonated for you in the past, and I think would do very well for you as well. I like how your channel trailer is here, and this is why I think it's important. It's a Twisted Kamikaze, how to make this amazing shot. Perfect. You have your searchable bit, then you have your compelling element. Launchpad Astronomy says, I've been on hiatus for a while now. Wasn't planning on announcing when I'm back. Just started uploading again. Launchpad Astronomy, you'd be so surprised how many people make a video announcing they're going to be back, and it kills any momentum they could have gotten on that video. And also agreed with Vigard, get back when you feel ready. Looking here, though, these are things you can update in the meantime. Cocktail Legends, you can say Cocktail Legend recent uploads or newest uploads, or Cocktail Legends latest cocktails, if that makes sense. Popular uploads, similar, you can put Cocktail Legends, you know, most popular uploads. For created playlist, you have recent activities, so you almost have this like twice, so I'd get rid of one and re-optimize it. Created playlist, I like how you have my specials. Maybe you can put specialty cocktails for that search and then put the Cocktail Legends after that. And I like a lot what you have here. It's just like re-optimizing all this. So when you do come back, it's even more clear for people. And those who may have forgotten about it, you're like, man, I haven't heard from Cocktail Legend a bit. Let's check out his channel. Wow, I didn't realize all this content was here. And again, I have a friend who's a bartender who loves drinking channels. Not drinking channels, but drink making channels. So yeah, this is an easy fix. In fact, he came over the other night, on Friday, and made me a white Russian. It's one of my personal favorites. Just so fun fact that no one asked for, but it makes sense in the context of what we're doing. I do think this is really cool. I think one thing you could do is how to make a Bob Marley shot. Maybe you could make like one thing that you could do is maybe like famous TV and movie like shots. I think would be super cool. Like you give your own spin, like you come up with a character and you make your own shot based on like, so like let's say the Flash, right? Like the Flash is a common comic character that people know. Like you make a shot that's like, hey, it's a quick, simple shot that is both feisty and fast like the Flash. And I think that's super cool, something unique. It doesn't have to be like that. You can maybe even like be the James Bond, which is what the Hybrid Steel says, which is a cool idea. Because that I think that Bob Marley shot, it might be an actual like drink, but like that's such a unique idea. And that's just something I'd recommend. The Homer Simpson Flaming Mo. Yeah, like there's so much here that you could do. So these are just all free ideas. You don't have to do it. Bogart says, love that idea. And these are just ideas. Again, you don't have to do them, but I think that's so cool. And then you can make like a playlist around that. And then you could be the YouTuber, like the bartender for everyone on YouTube. And honestly, like you could do so much with this idea. So Hybrid Steel's coming in with so many amazing names here. You should definitely take some of these up, the Cocktail Legend. Hopefully you are finding this useful. I want to see, though, just based on other things I look for, you're about ready for a different level of bartending. Check out the crazy cocktails I create here for fun. I would make this a little more descriptive about the channel and say, here are the Cocktail Legend. Get ready for a different level of bartending. Just simple, includes the name again, all that. If I look at your channel analytics, each of the drinks you've made should be a channel tag. So if I look here, okay, so you do have some decent ones. They're pretty easy just to change up. So yeah, like you have a decent amount of subscribers. Just really come back strong, and I think you'll have a really good shot. No pun intended. But the flash shot is cool. I hope that this video will be available later on for rewatch/download. I make all of these live streams available for replay. There's a playlist. Not sure if I feature it on the channel, mostly because I'm trying things out. Always be tested. But yes, this will be available. You can also do a review of cool Rise from classic ice to ice pack to ice stones. Ooh, love that too. God, Hybrid, you're giving great advice here too. So yeah. Overall though, I love the channel. Some cool ideas. I know you plan on redoing it. Just make those changes, but we're going to give you a C+ for some good cocktails here. Really, really great to see that. And I love what I'm seeing. But unfortunately, all good things have to come to an end, folks. So if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I'm Andrew Can. I believe that if I can, you can too. If you want to know how to find your ideal audience to YouTube, check out that video over there. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.